like limiting the passing in the law that you're limiting the carbon dioxide emissions like for different people. Would you consider that? And then it will decrease your real total and your per capita too.
Yeah, so the tons of CO2 per capita is very high. Is that right?
But we are doing it.
Huh?
But USA is doing taxation.
So I have a question for you, actually. What role can, like, for example, like businesses can play on decreasing climate change? Or, like, for example, what role the government has to decrease climate change in your country?
So to increase the climate, the greenhouses will be using more solar power or wind power. And another idea was because people is using a lot of producing a lot of carbon dioxide. So one idea was to make people to use less their car and use more transportation like buses, trains. Those kind of transportation use the energy from solar power and wind power.
So you're saying that we should be aware of energy efficiency?
One question. Since you want to use solar power and wind power, right? Do you think that your country has enough money or resources to?
Yes, because Australia has a wealthy economy.
Also, like Nepal, like not now, but like we used to have like solar panels and and those sources to make energy from the USA provided. So like Nepal is an undeveloped country, so other undeveloped country might can have more switches than other.
Yeah. Talking about developing countries, Turkey is one of countries. So I think within a carbon taxes will be almost helpful because besides getting money for countries, we can invest the money for renewable energy.
So what is your opinion, Japan? Because as you know, Japan's economy in the world is the world's fourth largest carbon emitter, based on Wikipedia.
Our country is the global use the economy to make this happen. Use the economy.
Remember to speak loud so everyone in the room can hear you.
How would you lessen your petroleum and other oil production? Because according to EIA.gov, 44% of your energy sources comes from petroleum. And also, I have learned that 43 million barrels of oil per day is being produced in Japan.
So right now we can use the solar energy to spark the the petroleum. If we use the solar energy to use it in anything like the hydropower and then
Let's hear about European.
oh yeah, I heard Chile say use more fossil fuel. So why? If do you care about the future?
Fossil fuel is bad.
So as I know from Chile, it's near the Pacific Ocean. So can you like do something about it?
They are actually using 33% hydro.
You use a lot of hydroelectric power. So can you like
Besides hydro, because we learned that you consume about 33% of energy for copper mines, and you use a lot of hydroelectricity and natural gas. What else can you do?
And what do you think about for the population or all the country in France? The population is growing a lot for the year, and one year are many fossil fuel and
I heard that France is
yeah, they must produce nuclear energy.
yeah,
there's
they're
no
one of
more.
the cleanest energy producers. So,
And then China is having problem for having Dory fossil fuel. And what do you think about for China for this problem?
I suggest carbon capture and storage and passive taxation, but I don't know if China agrees with that.
I also think like for per capita, China's carbon emissions is really low. But the problem is there's many people in China, and I know that they're trying to have like less population. So, is there like any good like solution to this like besides I don't know like more emissions? Like I'm pretty sure like you guys are trying to put less emissions. So, is there any other solution besides that?
Okay, so China is a developing country. So the pollution, mostly the pollution comes from the factory. Because all the factories in China, they use a lot of coal.
But can you get other sources besides coal?
Because I read on IFP school, I thought that your jobs mostly comes from factories, 28% comes from jobs that are based on burning fossil fuels. The question is, what can you do to like use less fossil fuels?
So I think our country, so now our country is developing the solar power. So we try to reduce using the carbon dioxide, release the carbon dioxide.
Because if we compare China to the United States, it releases more than 71% of CO2 since the 20s, based on Wikipedia. And an average person of an American produces less per capita comparing to an average Chinese person.
And do you see this?
I heard about Australia that it has a lot of corn. Corn.
Yeah, they use a lot.
Almost like 80% for energy. We also export the oil. Why they don't replace oil with gas besides more cheap and
Well, yeah, we
use this CO2?
we do use a lot of coal, but to resolve the problem of greenhouses, we're trying to change the energy that we're using, which is coal, and then use more solar power, and it might be like expensive, but we do have the resource, and we have a good economy. Next.
So,
So basically, Wikipedia, Germany has a big place. It's more renewable energy.
that's at 2.4%.
So, what do you think, Germany?
But I think we should concentrate on the big developed countries because, as you know, big developed countries are the ones that are most producing CO2 in the world. Yeah, so, and they're making the undeveloped country pay instead of what they should pay. And what I read, it says that they're making they're like building for other countries so they don't pay more tax to like the government on releasing more CO2.
We should just focus on finding a good solution for every country, represented or not represented right now. So, for the last minutes, we have, since we have started this conversation, we have only concluded that we should use solar power. Most of the countries have not spoken about using other solutions, just like.
Well, as Strauss said about doing the energy efficiency, about making more electrical batteries instead of the ones that are burning coal. Yeah, I agree with him.
Can we, I'm sorry to interrupt, can we hear from the outside circle a little bit from some of the reporters and people who are writing out information on the outside? Gonzalo, can you tell us a little bit, what do you hear that's happening in the inside circle? What are you noticing?
As usual, I just hear Diego and Maria leading the conversation, and I don't see a conclusion in this conversation. I think we have to hear more about Brazil, Germany, and other countries that are around, not just Peru and USA. So that's what I think.
Okay, can we hear from Ali? Ali, what are you hearing in the inside here? Let's hear about the process of the conversation. Beza, can you tell us a little bit about, what do you think, how is the process going? So the good and bad thing about like how they are doing the conversation, how they're doing it.
Okay, all group talk, like all of conversation, everybody talk less one way, but like most basic countries talks mostly, that I want to hear about like Chile, I want to hear about like France mostly, maybe like Justin, you know. So some people should talk more than me to show up.
Okay, all right, let's go back to the group. We have about 10 more minutes, and then we are going to write some notes, and then that's the end. So we have 10 more minutes to continue. Okay, let's go.
Carbon and answer because if you guys still want to use fossil fuels, you can consider using CCS or carbon capture and storage, so that you can still produce the amount of energy you produce, but only limited. But also along with other renewables and other energy sources.
I want to talk about Brazil, that is located in South America. I know that it's really hot in Brazil, and it's mostly on the ocean.
Would you consider using solar panels or hydroelectric?
I know that you said no, all of the countries can use hydroelectric, like Australia is like mostly dry. So I think using solar panel is good too.
Can we come to conclusion here? Who wants to? Who of you guys think that using solar panels is
I don't think only solar panels,
yeah, but we
but
are
also the
considering other.
renewable, all type of renewable energy.
Yes.
So kind of like someone again, people.
What about those countries who doesn't have like the resource to like those countries who are in developing economy like Peru, Nepal, like they would need help from other countries like rich countries.
That is why we
So,
Uh-huh.
and what is your question here?
Those countries, Nepal and developing economy from where they the solutions and for all the countries will be renewable resources, right?
other than renewable resources, so we need to decide about resources. But we're also going to use renewables. And also we also need other sources.
Also, the energy efficiency and carbon storage.
And also, I think you said that the target is from the United States. So,
For those who are like undeveloped or developing, other countries are like development should support them, or even maybe other developing countries, because not all sources can come from these developed countries, because they don't really have all of that source. Like maybe just a random example. Maybe this country doesn't have coal, but this other developed country has coal, so maybe they can provide to other yeah trading.
I think the most countries that have been affected are the undeveloped countries. Well, the developed countries that have a lot of economy have minor impacts. So we need to come to a conclusion.
So I think since like we don't have time to bring up like another like solution, I think it's like we should use all renewable energy and support each other with other countries.
Yeah, so those countries that want to use renewable energy can raise their hand.
Friends, do you disagree with us? Who also wants to consider carbon and methane taxation?
Carbon and storage.
Carbon,
storage.
carbon and methane taxation. Taxation? It's when you limit your people to produce, like, they should produce this amount of carbon dioxide only, and if you like go above that, then you pay.
Oh, I see.
Would you consider that?
Yeah.
Okay. Like for those who disagree, please give me a reason. And also, I think if you use this carbon and methane tax, it will also help your economy. Yes. And So before you can invest that money in renewable energy. And lastly, who agrees in using CCS or carbon capture and storage?
But if it has like another opinion,
Please say it. Do you guys agree with that?
how much time is that?
Got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left.
The first I call you.
In conclusion, everyone agrees to use renewable energy and carbon storage and carbon and methane taxation. So that are 3 solutions that you guys agree with. Please tell me.
Yes.
Yes,
No other opinions or no other suggestions?
no more.
Energy efficiency, yes. Sorry, I forgot that. Energy efficiency too.
Especially like in the country, I really feel like you guys usually use like energy a lot. So I think like, and the government probably doesn't want to like maybe use too much money, and saving energy actually saves money. I think that would be like easy and good.
I agree with you, and also that they should add that to like undeveloped countries that doesn't have that implemented on their rural areas, and this will really help a lot of the people that lack this.
That is true. So we are also considering energy efficiency as one of the solutions.
Okay. Thank you guys. Let's give them some applause, please. Yeah. Okay, so wait. Okay, so I know you've been waiting very patiently, and we have one more thing to do before we are done. So, 9th and 10th graders. Okay, can you sit down, please? Can you sit down? Can you sit down? You, can you sit down? Okay, so I need your attention, please. Daniel. Alex, Hazuki, please listen. Beza and Tally, can I get your attention, please? Thank you. Okay, so we have one more thing to do. One more thing to do. Beza, ready? So the last thing we need to do, 9th and 10th graders, we need to give a grade to the different people. Not just how much did they talk, but how much did they use evidence? How much did they paraphrase? How much did they ask other people's opinions? So think about what grade you will give them. Also, in the middle, you guys need to do your green paper. On the back, you have a self-reflection. Think about how did you do for yourself. If you don't have the green paper, if you lost it, I will give you a new one. Yes. And on the 11th graders on the outside, you also have some more to do on your green paper. So please sit down. Please sit down. No. Okay, I'll give it to you.
I didn't talk.
La guerra.
When I sit out and get my
I want to just like sit for just a few more minutes to take that shit away.
También el corte da mucho humo
Miss Julia about it.
Viste, es importante.